Hey guys, welcome back to the Snapper Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. Okay, this time we have a Challenger, and Challenger is by Proto, it's USA, and it's the 1260C Ratchet. And 1260 is pretty much a number that Proto has been using for a whole line of different ratchets, different designs. They'll all have the 1260 on them. But before we jump into it any further, let me just say I have a little goal going on, that I'm trying to reach a goal of 2,000 subscribers by sometime this summer. And I was wondering if you guys can help me out and give me the HBO special. HBO special stands for Help a Brother Out. So help a brother out and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button so I can hopefully reach my goal sometime soon. And I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. Okay guys, thanks a lot for you guys that helped me out there and hit the subscribe and the like. Okay, so here we have a 3/8. Pretty much this is an as found kind of video. I haven't really cleaned this one up. This is pretty much how I found it. On the outside looks pretty good. A little bit of maybe some staining or paint or something, but pretty much not bad. A little bit of rusting here, but you can see the inside looks not so great. It's like some dirt, grease, grime, what have you. And if you are ratcheting, you can hear how muffled it is when it gets to certain positions in the ratchet. Right there, it gets really muffled. So this one really, I don't think ever been serviced before. But just a quick peek at the outside. Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this. This is a New Britain design. This is one of the many New Britain design ratchets that were made by a whole gang of different, or were made for a whole gang of different companies throughout the years. One of the more famous roundhead designs, probably second only to the SK design, which is probably a lot simpler than this one, and still made probably today as in cheap ratchets from overseas. This one never really got taken overseas. This design, if you find this design, this New Britain design, it's always made in the USA. I don't think they ever took this overseas. I think maybe the complexity of the design was something that they didn't want to duplicate overseas or pay for. So as New Britain got taken over by mergers and acquisitions throughout the years, I guess Proto, they came under Proto, but not really, because Proto came under Stanley. So I guess Stanley took over New Britain, and they continued the design. They took over the design also in the merger, but once they Proto Stanley stopped making this design, they never took it overseas or anything, or tried to duplicate it anywhere else. Let's open it up real quick, and you can see here by the ring, it's really pretty dirty. Put this napkin down to catch some of it, and you can see how bad the ring is. It's pretty bad. Looks like old dirt and grease. It's encrusted on the ring, and we just lift up here on the anvil, and here you see right, the typical New Britain design doesn't look like it's changed much. Looks pretty much the same design that you see in I don't know, hundreds of other ratchets. This one is, I think, what happened with New Britain was the earlier ones were finer teeth and the later ones were more coarse. So this is a later on one, of course, Proto. And it has 9 teeth on the paw. I'm not going to take this apart. I don't want to make... I have other videos. I have probably a couple of videos where I show how to take these apart. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description of how to take these apart and put them back together again. Some kind of weirdness here. You see it's kind of got like a bluing effect there. Don't know if they blued this piece, the switching plate there, the top one, but it's got like kind of a bluing shimmer. Kind of when like if you see in like some of those guns where they kind of blue them, is like a rust bluing or something. Don't quote me on this. I'm not an expert on it, but it's got like that weird kind of multicolored shimmering to it. I forgot what they call that. And here it is. You can see it's pretty dirty. This one needs a good cleaning to be back in good order. The teeth look okay, just pretty much dirty. And the one interesting thing on this, and let me just, I'll get to that in a second. Here you can see how pretty much gummed up it is. It's pretty dirty. See all that dirt and old grease there? And it's pretty much all around. The teeth look pretty good, except for that it's probably got a good amount of grime in them. And these are the unloved ratchets of the world. Nice, but always, like I said, not loved. People, I guess they use them for a minute and then they put them in a box or something, and 20 years later it becomes like what you see here. The interesting thing here, okay, is the switch. And here is a very typical New Britain Husky CB43, and if you find a New Britain design, I will bet most times it will be in Husky because they seem to love New Britain design, and every time I see one of these, most often than not, it'll be a Husky. So there are the patents for the design. So I think it's safe to say that Husky was one of their most popular brands, and I think this one's a bit earlier one because, as you can see here, you can see the teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I counted 12 teeth on this, and this one, which was a later vintage, was 9 teeth. So this is the finer tooth, I guess a little bit older version. I think they were having problems with the fine teeth. A lot of people, they seem to think, or they say that this is pretty much a bulletproof design, and they never had a problem with them. But I did run across a few skipping earlier ones that had the paws that were like the finer tooth paws, and I think they probably ran into that problem and they fixed it by making the ratchet a little bit coarser, so to fix that skipping problem that they were having. And I don't have any concrete evidence of that, but it just kind of follows that it makes sense. Usually, they do things for a reason, and if they would go from an earlier design that was fine tooth to a more coarse design, I think that's probably the problem they had. And like I said, I did run across a few that had that problem, that were kind of skipping. And the only interesting thing here is the switches. The earlier switch had like a cutout, a couple of cutouts here, you can see there, and this later on switch just had, they just bored through it, and at certain points to conform to the protrusions here. So unlike this one where you can put it in either way, upside down, but they have to line up. It has to line up with that line. These three dots, 1, 2, 3, these three protrusions have to line up in that straight part there. This one here, it's kind of, the little one is for the little protrusion, and the big one's for the middle, and the top medium one is for this kind of stubbier protrusion there. So it would fit like that. And let me see what would happen if I try to fit it the other way, and it does not fit because this one here is too big for that little one down there. So this one has to go together pretty much like this to make it fit. And I think this is the first one I saw with this switch, and I've seen a bunch, believe me, of this design. And just to put it back together, like I said, make sure that that bigger one on top is lined up with this bigger protrusion up here. Kind of wiggle it in, maybe push in the paw a little bit, and there we go. And you know you got it connected with the switch is when you ratchet it and the switch follows. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this Challenger, Proto, Challenger big letters, Proto small letters, USA 1260C with a small T in a circle there. I'm not sure what that stands for. Oh, I don't think I mentioned the knurling. The knurling, it looks pretty uniform. Looks pretty good. The knurling, a little bit flat, like that flatter knurling. Not totally flat, but kind of on the flatter side. But looks pretty nice there. And the letters look like well struck. They look they look deep, but not that deep. They look like they were done very well. So it's a pretty handsome ratchet. Okay guys, that's all I got for now. Until next time.